Greetings, my fellow beings. My name is Amanda, and today we are going to be talking about how you can become a medical advocate for yourself. So I'm going to be talking about 5 different things that you can do to help you become your own medical advocate. When you have chronic illnesses, it is very easy for you to be stepped over, to have doctors not listen to you, to have doctors not believe you. And so in order to become your own medical advocate, there are 5 things that I suggest you do. Number 1, research. Do as much research as you possibly can. I always say that going on to WebMD is probably not the smartest decision when you have a strange illness, but there are other websites that you can type in information. Do as much research as you possibly can on your condition. And then once you get a diagnosis of what you have, do even more research. Be as prepared as you possibly can when you get to your appointment, so that when your doctor is talking to you, you are knowledgeable about yourself. You may have to look really deep inside yourself, write down everything that you are experiencing, because if the doctor asks you a question, you're like, I don't know if that really happens. That doesn't really help. So be as informed as you possibly can be. Number 2, ask questions. What I always do before I go into an appointment is that I have a small notebook or on my phone and I write down all the questions that I have for that doctor's office visit. I want to make sure that all of my questions are answered so that when I leave that appointment, I know that my time has been properly spent. Because a lot of times you go in and they're like, do you have anything else you want to talk about? And your mind goes completely blank. Happens to me almost every single time I go to the doctors. So having a list of questions that you have and just checking them off as you go and writing the answers as they're talking, so that when you leave that appointment, you feel that your time has been well spent. Number 3, keep your own records. Don't rely on just your doctor to have your records. Make sure that you have a copy of your records and also write down any information that you need. Every appointment we have, my husband writes in this notebook, and he writes what the doctor says, what we need to do, medications that he wants me to try, and we keep this notebook so that we can read over it. Then we have a folder that we keep that has all of the paperwork that the doctor has given us, and we keep any information that he's given us, anything like that, so that we can write it down. We take notes on this information so that we can look back at it and we can write more questions for our next visit so that those can be answered. Most important thing when it comes to asking questions is that you want to feel that you have had your fears and questions answered. Because when you are having a chronic illness and you're scared of what's going on, you want to get as much information as you possibly can. And the last thing you want is to be scared on top of it. So ask questions. You are allowed to ask questions. I know that sometimes doctors make it seem like you're not allowed to ask questions, but they are there for you. You're paying them. You have a right to ask questions. Along with keeping your own records, I suggest that you keep a health journal. So this is my current health journal. I only started it a little bit ago. But health journals are very useful for keeping your own records. This way, when your doctor asks you questions, you can have the answers. Have you ever felt ... And you can look into your health journal and be like, you know what, on this date, yes, this happened because I wrote it down. And I also, in the front of my journal, have all of the medications that I take and any small things that help me know, because up in the corners of my journals, I will put small pictures to tell me quickly that something big has happened that day. Like if I've had a migraine, there's a little pink M. Like on this day, there's a little pink M up in the corner. So that tells me that day I had a migraine. So I can look back and my doctor says, how often have you had migraines? I can look back in my journal and be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then tell him. So these are all of my health journals, and I started keeping a health journal. 2017 is when I started my journals. So these are all of my journals. And when I go to doctor's appointments, I will take my most recent journal. With me. But because I just recently started this one and I don't have that much written in it, I will take my last journal and this one and take them with me. And that way I can reference anything that the doctor asks. Number 4, get a second opinion. You are allowed to get a second opinion if you don't agree with what the doctor says, or maybe you're confused of what the doctor said, or maybe you just want to know if they really did the tests that you wanted, or maybe the tests weren't done properly. You don't know. So get a second opinion. It's okay to ask someone else. And I know that in the US healthcare system, it is really hard sometimes in order to get a second opinion, because sometimes you're stuck with a doctor that is given to you. But if it is in your power to get a second opinion and find a second doctor and get their opinion on your condition, I highly suggest that if you do not trust 100% the doctor that you have right now. You have a right to have a doctor that is behind you 100%. And if you are not being treated the way that you deserve to be treated, get someone else. Number 5, call for backup. This one is a little bit harder than most. If you are having problems with your doctors for any reason, if there's discrimination because of your race, color, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. If you're being discriminated against for any reason, get backup. Find someone that will come and defend you. My backup is my husband. My husband comes to all of my doctor's appointments, and when I get overwhelmed, or I'm having an extreme brain fog, or I can't think properly, or maybe I'm just intimidated altogether, then my husband will stand up for me. And I can't tell you how many times things have gotten done because he has stood up for me. So if you have it in your power to have a friend, a family member, maybe an acquaintance that you trust, which would be a friend then, have someone there to help you, even if it is just help in the sense that if you're feeling intimidated by your doctor, you can have the strength to stand up for yourself. Because a lot of times they don't need to say anything, they just need to be there for you. And it helps you feel braver. So having backup is something that I do suggest if you have issues like I usually do, because I am female and I have quite a few chronic illnesses that some doctors don't believe are real. So having someone there to help back you up is something that I highly suggest having if you are struggling with being an advocate for yourself. So those are my 5 tips for being your own medical advocate. Not every single one is going to work for you. Your situation is your own situation. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping that this can help you figure out your own plan of attack of being your own medical advocate. The one thing I want you to take away from this is that you deserve to find the help that you need. You have a right to be healthy. You have a right to be happy. You have a right to be on this earth, and you can do that if you are your own advocate. Some people are going to find the perfect doctor straight away, and they are going to be able to get the help that they need. The rest of us are going to struggle and slog through a lot of different doctors, but you need to realize that you have a right to get the help that you deserve. I hope that you found this video interesting. I hope that you got something from it, and I hope that you realized that you are important. If you did enjoy this video, please click that subscribe button or click that like button if you did enjoy this video. Remember to be kind. Kindness is free, so give it out to everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Get out my notes here. Put in everything that you have. No, don't do that. Number 2. I just read it and I can't remember what it is. Okay. Let's see. Oh my goodness. on April 23rd. What year is this? I don't even know what years this is. April 23rd. When did I actually start writing the year? Like, seriously, Davis? 17. So